Welcome to another episode of the Flashback Cartoon Hour. I'm your loving bald host with the most from coast to coast, Nick, the Big G Lascola. And here with me today is a very special goon. Introduce yourself, goon.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sean. First time on this podcast, first time ever doing a podcast. So this is going to be a little bit different, but I'm proud to be here.
I'm glad you came by, buddy, and I'm excited to do this cartoon with you. Today, we have the pleasure of doing Godzilla, the series. So let's get right into it. Godzilla the series is an American-Japanese animated television series developed by Jeff Kline and Richard Reynes. The series originally aired on Fox Kids in the United States between September 12, 1998 and April 22nd, the year 2000, and is a direct sequel to the 1998 Godzilla live-action movie, the first American-made Godzilla, which was not critically liked in any way, shape, or form.
I love Matthew Broderick, I can't lie. So I was actually a fan of the movie when it did come out. So
hey, you know what? I loved the movie too, absolutely, especially looking back at it with the nostalgia thing. And it was just like, at the time, there's a few different scenes that were really good. Like, if you took the Godzilla name out of that movie and just gave this creature a different name, overall, it could be a good movie.
Oh, absolutely.
It could be a very fun movie. I thought they did a lot of fun things. And is it a little Jurassic Parky? Sure. But I had fun when those baby Godzillas are ripping all those like people to shreds in Madison Square Garden. That's fun. I had a good time with that.
When you see them come out of the eggs and everything, when they're hatching first of all, and then they're running right out of it scared the shit out of me.
Yeah. Like, oh shit. Okay, the show consisted of 2 seasons and 40 episodes overall. Each episode had a normal runtime of about 23 minutes. The final 2 episodes never actually aired and were unseen until the DVD release.
The series was a collaboration between the production company Adelaide Productions, which is known for Jumanji, Dragon Tales, Extreme Ghostbusters, Men in Black the series, and Jackie Chan Adventures, Central Topless Television, Tahoe, and Columbia and TriStar Television.
So Toho is the actual company that like created the original Godzilla.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's the company. So they're like working in hand with them in a sense, right?
Okay.
Now, have you ever listened to, it's because we're a podcast, have you ever seen any of these other TV shows like the Jumanji cartoon or the Men in Black series, or at least Jackie Chan maybe?
I've definitely seen Jackie Chan Adventures. That's definitely another show that we should definitely watch at one point in time.
Oh, so down.
But the Men in Black series I am familiar with, but the other ones, I gotta say, I don't remember Jumanji too much. Dragon Tales, I was a little bit older, so I didn't get too much into that when I was a kid, but I definitely know a lot of these other shows.
Yeah. I was never a big Dragon Tales guy, but I can tell you right now, Men in Black, the series, well, I was a huge fan of. And so these guys are really good at doing like weird, grotesque like designs. And you really see it in like the creatures, right? That Godzilla is that we'll talk about, but that he fights in this series, and that's why they were really good, because you can get the sense of that in both Extreme Ghostbusters and Men in Black, where they can do really weird, grotesque-looking creatures very well.
The series was developed and created by writing and animator duo Jeff Kline and Richard Reynes. Together, Jeff and Rich would co-create many of the previous mentioned Adelaide production cartoons.
Godzilla the series currently holds a 6.8 out of 10 stars on IMDb. Unlike the movie that came before it, which we just talked about, the series is actually really, really well received with fans. Despite being popular among young boys, though, the show couldn't compete its second season run due to the infamous Digimon vs. Pokemon War, where both Fox and Warner Brothers were licensing various collection/game type animes, such as Digimon, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Monster Ranchers, and others. So like Metabots, Beyblade, like, you know what I mean? They kind of got it all. And then we're just like we talked about the Fox Kids WB. What are we going to show on Saturday mornings to compete with each other? And they wanted something that like clearly kids could collect.
Yeah, exactly. Real quick.
Yeah.
Digimon or Pokemon?
Are you going to judge me on it? Are we talking about games or are we talking about the anime?
The whole shebang.
Over the whole shebang, I would say Pokemon over Digimon games, but when it comes to the anime, I'm a Digimon over the Pokemon.
Really?
And the thing is, a lot of people think I'm fucking wild for this, but we were that perfect age where like we were targeted when these shows came out. We were that 10 to like, you know what I mean? Like 8 to 11 years old. With me, Digimon felt like it was more shit could happen that had a permanent effect. Like if a Digimon died, it was it for that Digimon. They weren't coming back.
That's true.
Whereas in Pokemon, if like the Pokemon fainted, you returned them to your Pokeball. So for me, it was like a more intense effect. And you know what? To the creators of Godzilla, I feel like you could have tried to make a card game or some kind of collection to try and stay in the running with this. If it's like as popular as they're saying it was, come out with like the Godzilla trading card game with all these different monsters. Because like we were looking it up, there's 40 different episodes.
That's true. You know, but I feel like it wasn't like when you're reading back here and stuff like that, and you see Pokemon and Digimon and stuff like that. I feel like it did get overshadowed.
Mm-hmm.
That's why the last 2 episodes didn't
air. Yeah.
So, but I feel like it became a cult classic over the years and stuff like that.
Yes.
But I think if you release the card game while all those things were out, I think it would just get outshined, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. Because you got the Yu-Gi-Oh! And then, like, even the Pokemon card game itself got outshined. The card game's more about the collection now than it is actually playing the card game. Although, you know, I'm saying that, I know that there's tournaments out there that people still go to go play Pokemon tournaments. Absolutely. Just not around here.
I could definitely get behind like little figures of the fucking monsters.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Because I had figures of the Godzilla movie figures. And actually, I just watched a video on YouTube recently that there were action figures based off of them, but never got, like, there was a promo for them.
Oh, no shit.
But they never got released. They looked gnarly. It's definitely something I would have like bought as a kid, like right up my alley.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Toys were huge back in the day.
Yeah. The episode Deadlock marked the final role for famous actor Roddy McDowall, who is well known for his roles in Planet of the Apes and Fright Night. He died a few weeks after completing the episode. That's just a cool little fun fact. I don't know if you know anything about Planet of the Apes and stuff like that.
Believe it or not, don't judge me on this. Never seen Planet of the Apes.
Hey, you know what? It's the original one. My dad's a huge fan of the original ones. Those are all from like the 60s into the 70s. And they, you know, they got the people in the monkey suits. And I get it for modern day people trying to go back and rewatching those. I do recommend watching the very first ever Planet of the Apes ever created. That one was really, really good.
That was one like 1976 or something?
1960s for sure. Okay. Yeah. But that's the guy who's like, get your hands off me, you damn dirty ape. And like that one.
It all up and everything.
Yeah, exactly. That one is gnarly. Okay. Godzilla and his new appearance were a closely guarded secret. Although Jeff and his crew had access to the Godzilla designs and information about the movie, everyone working on the cartoon had to sign non-disclosure statements and were sworn to absolute secrecy. Early on in the development, some of the people working on the show were not even allowed to see the Godzilla design. According to producer/head director Autopoden. Very basic shapes were used to approximate Godzilla in the early storyboards and designs. Later, after the okay was given for the designs to be released to the crew, the actual Godzilla would be drawn in.
The new version of Godzilla was a cross between Setro Paolo's version and the original Toho Godzilla. Godzilla is a lot more aggressive towards adversaries and yet more passive towards humans. In particular, the main guy, Nick
Tatopoulos.
Nick Tatopoulos was the decision to bring back many Godzilla's classic traits happened very early on in the process. But almost all of the production crew were big fans of the original Japanese Godzilla films. Since the American movie's exact details were kept under secret, so no one really knew, down to the capabilities of Godzilla himself, the cartoon staff had no choice but to base on their work on the Japanese movies. Thus, Godzilla Jr. was a more anthropomorphic, stand more upright during battle, where the other monsters and his radioactive flame breath returned along with the glowing fins.
Yep. So they really, they were fans of the original movies, and because they were given so little knowledge of the movie coming out, they were like, well, we're just going to do what we know. And that's why this show it was, I will say, more love than the movie, because they were able to keep it with the giant monster fights, which is Godzilla. Yeah, there's the Godzilla films where it's Godzilla versus Japan, but we really love the Godzilla fights. And you gotta give him his fire breath. That's like his most important thing in battle.
Oh, absolutely.
I get what the movie was going for. They wanted this more like animalistic version of Godzilla. And I'll play a clip of his cry too. When you hear the Godzilla cry, it almost sounds more like a eagle type, like hawk, where he does like that, like, ah!
Yeah.
That was a perfect Godzilla impersonation.
I'm impressed.
Thank you.
Impressionist.
So quickly, let's go into the synopsis of the series. The series follows the Humanitarian Environmental Analyst Team, or HEAT for short, a research team led by Dr. Nick Tatopoulos, as they battle giant mutant monsters that frequently appear in the wake of the events depicted in the 1998 film Godzilla. Dr. Tatopoulos accidentally discovers an egg that survived the aerial bombardment before it hatches, in a minor change to the ending of the 98 movie. The creature hatches after Nick Tatopoulos stumbles onto it and assumes him to be its parent. Subsequently, Dr. Tatopoulos and his associates form a research team investigating strange occurrences and defending mankind from dangerous mutations. Godzilla, believing Nick to be its parent, responds only to him, thus becoming the main weapon summoned against other mutations encountered by the human characters. The series also introduces two new characters, Monique Dupré, a French secret agent assigned by Philippe Roche, who was in the movie, to keep an eye on Godzilla and Heat, and Randy Hernandez, an intern of Nick's, who specializes in computer hacking. And I gotta say, I love Randy. I love Randy as a character. I think he's hilarious. I think his interaction, I think the whole crew of Heat together, their interactions with each other just is really believable. Like the characters, I was in awe, and almost like how like they're like, the guys are kind of brotherly and like they kind of shit on each other all the time. And like even with the girls, and Randy's like always hacking Nigel to make him say the most silly things. And then, what's his name? Dr. Craven Mendel, he's always getting upset, and he's the one with all the allergies and stuff, and him and Randy's interactions with each other, it's just really cool. Like the way they all bounce off each other is very believable. I'm like, it believes like it's a real human relationships that could happen. And one real big thing about this too is the show's main character are the Heat members. And in the movie, Nick's girlfriend, the reporter, and the cameraman were big characters, but they kind of get pushed to the back of this series. And it's more about the team, them finding out a new mutation and then sending Godzilla to go fight the mutations. Because like with Godzilla getting implanted, what happened is like once Nick showed up to the Madison Square Garden, he saw the eggs and there was that one egg that hatched. He had all the goop that was just all over him from the egg. So when Godzilla came out, he smelled the goop on Nick and imprinted that like Nick was his mom kind of thing.
Yeah, that's just crazy to me, basically. Like, I mean, I get it when you're a kid and stuff like that, but we see this thing fully grown.
Yeah, it grows quick. It grows quick.
And then it thinks that like a 6-foot human is its mom, basically, and this thing falls around like a dog.
Literally like a dog. And it's just funny with like how many times another creature would show up in the first few episodes, and then the army was like, it's clearly Godzilla, kill him. And they're like, no, I just told you he's on our side. Like, leave him alone. He's the only thing that's going to stop all these other creatures from killing us. So you guys just need to chill the fuck out. And the army's like, all right, go do your thing, dude, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't blame them for trying to shoot a gigantic dinosaur, trying to blow up a whole
Oh, yeah, I'd be scared too. Yeah. And one crazy person is just going like, no, he listens to me. Leave him alone. Yeah. And you're like, this guy could go nuclear any minute, dude. And we wouldn't know what to do.
So, but no, I don't blame them at all for that type of stuff. But, you know, like you said before, like all the interactions, though, between these characters and everything really did feel genuine. So I will give them to that. They did a real good job with the writing.
And on that note, let's dive into the Heat members. I'll let you start off, bro. Why don't you talk about the man of the hour?
So the man of the hour, Dr. Nick Tatopoulos,
doesn't act on pure instinct like a lizard. It's displaying intelligence, even loyalty.
He's the leader of the Heat, basically the dad of the group, basically of Godzilla. He basically will live or die to protect Godzilla. And the other mutations, he understands basically that some of them should not be exactly, you know, on this earth and stuff like that. So he goes into like a moral compass kind of type stuff throughout the show, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, which creatures should you like leave alone? Which creatures should you like they're clearly going to be a problem in the long run, so you got to take them out. And it's like a very much like who decides who lives and who dies. But, you know, Nick's got, like you said, that good moral compass where he can tell like, no, this is just a bad monster in general. He's going to eat humans. He's going to kill all of us.
Yo.
And opposed to like, no, dude, this monster is just trapped because humans are trying to exploit it. So just let it go. Like, let's let it free and let it go roam and then never talk to it again.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of thing.
Yeah. For like example, like the silver episode and stuff like that, where he had Godzilla just cave it in basically. And that was the end of it.
Yep.
So, and then we have Dr. Elise Chapman.
Nick, think about it, okay? We have seen stuff in the past month that I never would have believed in before.
Basically, she was one of the original members of the Knicks teams. She's very sarcastic, but very dry-witted. She was actually in the movie, you know, so I thought that was kind of cool that they brought her out from the movie into the show. But she definitely, you know, she can get jealous pretty quick. Definitely around Audrey and Nick. Basically, there's a little love-hate.
Yeah, like a little love triangle in a way.
You know, I felt like that was like a love triangle throughout like a lot of the characters kind of.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
It was funny because like in the movie, Chapman, she's for the listeners, she's the one that has like the red hair. So when you see her, boom, just think of red hair. That's Dr. Elsie Chapman. She in the movie is just kind of like flirty with Nick.
Yep.
It was never like an actual, like, she really like wanted him. But like in this one, there almost is like a, like, you know, they push the other girl down, Aubrey, they push like her role down. And then they kind of have this like Nick and Dr. Elsie kind of like, he really cares for her. And like, is there something there? And another thing about Nick too, is they changed Nick from Matthew Broderick's kind of nerd amok and kind of like just dealing with all this. This dude's got like a chiseled chin now.
Yo.
He's in shape. You know, he's like kind of an action hero. He's hanging off things from like 12 stories up before like he falls and Godzilla picks him up. He's jumping away from explosions. And you're
Willing
like,
to kill himself.
who the fuck is this guy?
Exactly. It's definitely not the one from the movie.
Definitely not. But I really like that they, as a fan of Matthew Broderick, I
absolutely.
like that they kind of went with this more action hero-y Nick, especially because my name is Nick. So when I see anyone that's just representing... Next, we have Dr. Mendel Craven, voiced by Malcolm Danare. Danary? We'll go with either one.
You think my ancestors crawled out of the primordial ooze just to hand over our planet to a bunch of spacemen?
The team's engineer and chemist. He is slightly cowardly, as his last name implies, and prone to numerous strong allergies, but is often resourceful. He is also enamored of Elsie. Although initially fearful of Godzilla, over the course of the series, he comes to trust the monster as an ally. Denari reprises his role from the film, just like Dr. Elsie. So there's a few people, and I'll go in a little bit of like exactly everyone who came over from the movie.
Mm-hmm. So Randy, that we have next.
Is it my imagination, or is this the beginning of a beautiful friendship?
It's your imagination.
He's basically just like the team's intern, but he's an expert hacker. He's working under Nick and, you know, working as a constant supporter for him. He loves to call Godzilla the G-Man.
Take it to him, G-Man!
He does. Yeah, he's a huge fan of God. He's the first one on the team other than Nick to immediately pick up on him. He's like the G-Man, yo, leave the big guy alone. Like, he loves Godzilla.
Oh, yeah. So, you know, and then he also calls him the big guy sometimes this time, but he's basically just the hype man for Godzilla.
Yeah.
Right behind him.
Yeah, boy!
You know? Hey, Hefe, and all this other stuff. You know, he loves going back and forth with people. He's been a riot the whole show.
He's my favorite.
Yeah, I think he's a solid contender, definitely. And then, but he's also got a different nickname for him for every occasion, basically.
Mm-hmm.
He loves his technology, definitely. He's extremely lazy. You know, like that college episode and everything like that.
Oh, yeah,
going
yeah.
back and forth.
Yeah.
He just wants to go in, hack his grades and stuff like that. But he usually annoys Mendel by this poor robot. Let's just talk about
Nigel. Yeah.
Nigel gets blown up, hacked into, all this other stuff every single time. And it's always Randy that's basically doing it to him.
He hacks into him and he changes his voice, and he'll have like Nigel throughout the episode, like for one episode, Nigel will just walk in for a scene and then he'll have like a Shakespearean accent.
Yep.
Or another one, he'll have like a Jamaican accent. And then, and Dr. Craven is just like, the fuck, dude?
Yep.
Stop fucking with my robot. But that's that whole like brotherly, like, you know, fucking with each other on the team kind of like back and forth. And in fact, do you remember with the episode where they have to go inside Mendel and they have to basically like fight the bacteria?
Oh, where they're in Godzilla and then they gotta like shoot them with lasers.
Yeah, so they had to go into Godzilla. And I do love that episode too, because they actually show like the gash in Godzilla, and then like they got to go in there. But Mendel Craven also got infected with the same bacteria.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so they had to fix him too. And the first one to be by Mendel's side was Randy.
Yo.
You mean he's really sick? He's never really sick.
And he's like, even though, you know, like when no one was looking, he's like, even though like, you know, I hope you can hear me. And, you know that it's always just like a fun riffing between me and you. And I hope you pull through.
Yep. That adds on to that.
Yeah.
When he hacks into his email. And that, and it's not even the virus. There's so many good stuff.
Yeah, dude. I fucking love Randy. I love him.
But believe it or not, the Heat acronym basically was actually made by Randy too. He originally had the attention, although originally that he was thinking that it was going to stand for High Performance Environmental Attack Team, but it ended up being changed later on.
Yeah. They changed it.
So the voice actor Reno Romano has also voiced characters just such as like Bruce Wayne and Batman
in the series The Batman.
Yep.
That was like that was like maybe 2004. That series came out.
Oh,
It's like that with like a younger Batman kind of thing going out. It was the first Batman to come out after Batman the Animated Series.
okay.
So it's like a little bit after us, but like I was still old enough where like I caught like maybe the first season or two after that.
There's so many different Batman
Yeah,
series and
yeah,
everything,
yeah.
but nothing will replace Mark Hamill,
Oh, facts.
you know. So he was also Lone Star in Spaceballs, the animated series.
Mm-hmm.
That movie, again, is just so great.
He was also Edgardo Rivera in Extreme Ghostbusters, which is another series created by the same team that made the show. But I'm doing a episode on the series Ultra Force with that. I don't want to give out any names yet, but with the person I told you I'm recording with
Oh,
soon.
true. Yep.
And so he told me about that show, and I started watching it. And he plays a character called Prototype, which is basically like an Iron Man type guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's got like the big like metal suit and stuff that he flies around with. When I was listening to it, I went, "Oh my god, dude! I literally just finished watching Godzilla. This guy is everywhere," and it was fun. And then, like we had mentioned, he played Peter Parker, Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Oh, me and you were talking about it in the original Spider-Man. The Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2 Enter Electro for the PlayStation 1, which is just games that like will forever live in my memory.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, everyone has the PlayStation 5 and the 4, and they're playing these Spider-Man games, and those are cool and all, don't get me wrong, but these were our Spider-Man games from back in the day.
Where the draw distance was basically 2 buildings apart.
Oh, yeah.
You couldn't even look down at the car.
Yeah, and even the voice acting is spotty at best, you know? So next we have Monique Dupre.
Randy, listen to my voice. The deeper we go, the safer we are. The safer we are, the calmer you are. Relax. Enjoy the ride.
Voiced by Brigitte Bacco, a French agent of the DGSE specializing in hand-to-hand combat and infiltration. She is originally sent to have Godzilla killed, but becomes a member of HEAT after being assigned to supervise Godzilla indefinitely. She generally seems cold and impassionate, but proves capable of honor, courage, compassion, and loyalty. She is very talented with martial arts, espionage, and marksmanship. She's always ready to she's like implying to kill somebody. She's like, someone's in her way, say less. And she'll like put on a scuba suit and jump in like in the water. You're like, no, don't kill people. Don't kill people.
Yeah, she's always the first one to act and everything like that. She doesn't care who.
Yeah, like the warrior, you know,
exactly.
the girl warrior, kick-ass warrior, you chick, you know, equality.
Yeah, there's a lot of French people in this show.
Yeah.
I was surprised.
Well, because that's in the original '98 Godzilla movie. You remember that whole French team that like ends up kidnapping Nick Tatopoulos, and then they all go. She's a part of that. In fact, the lead French guy, the actor from the movie didn't reprise him. They got a new guy, but that character comes back in and was like, you know, I've had you looking over Godzilla this long and I want you to kill him again because I deem it. And like, you know, they spend the episode trying to convince him like, no. Godzilla Jr. is a good dude. But they're the ones that were like basically in charge of killing Godzilla. They're the ones that went into Madison Square Garden and started getting plucked off by all the baby Godzillas with all the guns. Because, like, you know what I mean? A lot of fun. Why don't you go into the man, the myth, the legend himself, often imitated, but never duplicated, Nigel.
So Nigel, which was a surprise to me, was voiced by Tom Kenny.
Subject asleep. Oi, such a punum.
I don't know how you sampled my mother's voice, but I will get you back.
And anyone knows Tom Kenny, anyone who listened to this show knows that is the voice of SpongeBob and Heifer the cow from Rocko's Modern Life. Just so many different, especially Nickelodeon characters. Great voice actor. And he did a good job.
Yeah, he nailed every single voice that he had to do for this character and everything, and he just knocked it out of the park. He's always great in everything that he does.
Tell him what Nigel's short for.
So this Nigel was an acronym named Next Millennium Intelligence Gathering Electronic Liaison. So basically, this guy just got a really long ass name, and they just found it was simple to call it.
Yeah, he's basically like an analysis robot, created by Mendel, but constantly reprogrammed by Randy.
Yup. So that's what all those quirky boys.
Yeah, from cowboy to Shakespearean. So like we had mentioned, he literally gets killed every single episode, except I think I looked it up. There is 2 episodes throughout the entire series that he doesn't get destroyed.
Really?
It's either 1 to 2. It's no more than 2. I can tell you that much. Where he actually lives. But I was I was reading an interview with the creators, and they said at first it started off as a joke, but over time it clearly is a homage to Kenny from South Park.
Yeah, no, that's what I was thinking when I was like watching it.
They said they did it on purpose. They're fans of South Park, and they were like, this is our Kenny. He's our Kenny. And I'll play a voice clip because like he does this scream every single time that he dies. And I'll play this here. Future Nick, you know where to add that.
Nigel! Nigel!
And it's just so funny. Every time he dies, I'm geeking out. And then you have Mendel, who just like always hits the floor and goes, Nigel, no!
It's like his dad, man, dude.
Yeah.
Watching his kid go down every single time, man.
And for the final character, I guess you could consider him a member of Heat. We got Godzilla, or Junior, who is voiced by Frank Welker.
Well, what are you waiting for?
And check out our Scooby-Doo Where Are You episode for more on Frank. And we just released a flashback reacts to Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island. Frank is the voice of Fred from Scooby-Doo. And he is also the current voice of Scooby-Doo. He took over for Scooby-Doo in all cartoons and stuff. So yeah, Fred is the only character, or Frank Welker is the only guy to still voice his character from the original series of Scooby-Doo.
Oh, damn. That's crazy.
And this motherfucker is playing Godzilla.
See, like, I always find it weird, like, whenever they do, like, a voice for, like, Godzilla and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Anything, like, animated like that.
Yeah.
Because it's like, why wouldn't it just, like, save money, use the sound bit?
Yeah, so, well, like, obviously they do, and I'll play the sound bit of, like I said, it's the almost like the hawk eagle screech mixed with the Godzilla roar.
Yeah.
Because they definitely wanted to go for a more animalistic thing here. But when it's like Godzilla in the show acting more like a dog, they're like,
True.
Hey, that's
Yeah.
Frank Welker making those noises and stuff. And just real quick, Malcolm Denari, and Frank Welker both reprised their roles from the 1998 film. Kevin Dunn and Michael Lerner also reprised their roles from the film as both Major Hicks and Mayor Ebert, respectively.
Yeah, I think they did a great job with all of them. The casting and everything.
Yeah. Hicks is great. Unfortunately, between the movie and this show, it's supposed to be he got demoted because I think he was Corporal Hicks.
Oh, that's true. I didn't.
And
even
then,
think of that.
actually, I don't know what the ranking was. I forget what he was in the movie. It's been a little minute since I saw the movie. Couple years since I've seen the movie, but yeah, it was supposed to be that he got demoted since the movie events of the movie happened. And then Mayor Ebert's still the mayor, the big fat guy with the glasses.
Yeah, and he makes that sideshow freak show thing too.
Yeah. So those are our quick fun facts and notes. Now the rest of the episode, Sean, on the show we like to do fun facts first, then opinions. So on a letter scale from F to A+, where would you put this series?
So for me personally, I am very stuck in between giving it a B- to a C+. I feel like they did a really great job with the show. Every, Monster of the Week was a great episode. Always enjoyed it. But I feel where they really hit the note was those, special episodes like Monster Wars, the part 2s, like,
Yes. For sure. And I wish they had more, like you had told me earlier. Like, I feel like it would have done better if they had more episodes that kind of connected to more episodes and made it more like an ongoing continuity. Because, like, these episodes, they all happen after the first one, but there's not really an order you need to watch them in, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Most of them are standalone episodes, except there are some continuity things that they might briefly mention in an episode, like 12 to 13 episodes later, and you're like, oh, yeah, that's right. But other than that, for the most part, these are all standalones, unless you have the 3-parter Monster War, 2-parter Monster War, and stuff like that.
Yeah, I just feel like if they did a little bit more of that, like, get like a 2-parter of like Mothra or something like that.
If they used more Toho characters, that'd be awesome. But I don't think they had it was all like rights and shit like that. Yeah. So at that point, you could find like parallels to like the Toho monsters. So like they kind of created their own version of Mothra or like their own giant bug, their own giant monkey, their own giant, like, they kind of did their like unofficial Toho equivalent to.
Yeah, they definitely made it their own, and they definitely did a good job with it.
So you're gonna say B-, C+?
Yeah, I'll
highball it.
I'll give it a B-.
Yeah,
I'll give it a B-, definitely.
I think for me, I'm probably gonna go. I might even plus it. I think I'm gonna go B+, just because like I was thoroughly. It like shocks me how impressed I was with the series. I was going into this and like I always remembered the series as a kid, and I was like, this is probably gonna bite, dude. Like this isn't gonna be good. And then like immediately I'm like I said, I was impressed with the interactions between the humans. And no one ever gives a fuck what the humans are doing during Godzilla anything. You just want to see Godzilla fight. That's the whole point. But I like these characters. I like the way they interact with each other. I love their camaraderie. And then Godzilla himself, I liked that they added the fire breath. I liked that they made him a little more anthropomorphic. The way that he's like walking is a little more Godzilla-esque than like this like more crouched. Like he's still crouched, but he doesn't seem. It's supposed to be a different Godzilla than the Godzilla from the '98 movie. So I like that they made him like. They constantly show just how much more powerful he is.
Yeah, he's definitely made his own, definitely.
Okay, and now let's go into some recommendations that we want to give to you guys. Me and you, Sean, we both agreed that the very first episodes that anyone should be checking out is the 2-episode, 2-parter, New Family, Part 1 and Part 2, respectively. For Part 1, while scouring the sewers of New York, Nick Tatopoulos discovers one of Godzilla's eggs has survived, like we had mentioned at the beginning of the episode, and the hatchling that emerges escapes, and by the time the team finds it again, has grown into a massive adult.
I thought you said this thing was human size!
It was!
Godzilla recognizes Nick's scent and imprints on him as his parent. As the team tries to study the new Godzilla, the U.S. military, responding to a series of disappearances in Jamaica, attack and seemingly kill Godzilla. And I remember watching this too, and when they attack Godzilla, like it's like it shows Godzilla like actually have like blood on his chest and like it squirts out a little bit. And I remember like thinking like, damn, dude, that's fucking okay, cool. Yeah, you know what I mean? It's one thing when like you have a show where like the Ninja Turtles, where they have weapons but they don't actually use it, or when like a lot of things in the 80s is like they would have projectiles, but instead of shooting you directly, they would shoot something above you to have it fall on top of you, like rubble or like a ceiling or something like that. Nope. In this one, boom, right away, the military's like, listen, we just fucked up your dad, and we're not sitting around to see what you're gonna do. So boom, 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 boom. Really, really good episode. Good introduction to the characters, get introduced to Randy and everything. Finding out who what's her name? The French chick.
Oh yeah, the front
Monique. Yep.
Monique comes in and then just basically tries to hack the computer to try to basically take down Godzilla Part 2. But then they slowly come to an agreement that they basically should be working together.
There was a lot of mysterious things happening. Giant squids were actually the things that were killing all these people and attacking and destroying parts of the city. So the military thought that it was Godzilla. And they're like, bro, no, Nick's there. Nick's like, no, listen, he's talking to me. He's listening to me. You have to listen. Leave him alone. We can use him. And they're like, no, like he's killing people. We need to take him out. But then Godzilla fights the giant squids, but they come to the conclusion that it's not the giant squids, but it's actually a whole different monster that was causing this giant squids to come closer to shore.
Yep. And then that one is called the Crustaceous Rex.
Crustaceous Rex.
Basically, this is the first monster fight of this show.
Absolutely.
Knocked it out of the park, I think.
Oh yeah, so good. And so like I also had mentioned at the beginning of the episode, they do such a good job with the creature designs. Because Crustaceous Rex is really just like a giant...
I'd almost call it like a fucking horseshoe crab, kind of.
Yeah, it like hangs out on its like it's got these two giant like arms. It kind of seems like an easy creature for Godzilla to... Because like it really has no legs, right? It's got two arms that it walks around on.
Yep, it's got a couple tentacles hanging.
Yeah, like out of the mouth and stuff.
Yep, it's got the Venus flytrap type.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Yeah, and it does like that whole like almost like plant thing where the mouth opens up and all the tentacles come out, and it's like almost like a predator mouth, right? The way that the mouth is opening, like with four mandibles.
Did you ever see Stranger Things?
Yeah.
The Demigorgon.
It looks just like the mouth is very much like the Demigorgon. Absolutely, dude. So that was a good fight. Again, like he has no legs, so for me, I was really kind of waiting throughout the first few episodes to like, I want to see a monster that's really gonna give Godzilla a hard time. Because like, he fights the giant worm.
Yes.
I'm like, Godzilla would fuck up a worm. Come on.
Exactly. And then he fights those like woolly mammoths and stuff like that.
Yep.
I feel like the first episode that definitely like gave Godzilla a good fight was definitely the Leviathan episode.
Leviathan, yes. Yep. Because even like the Crackler was like, it wasn't that big. The giant rats were okay, but like I wanted something that was like Godzilla's size that could take him toe to toe in a drag out brawl.
Yes, exactly.
But Leviathan, which is season 1, episode 8, the team are called to help a rescue mission for xenobiologist Alexander Polarian, voiced by Kenneth Mars, who disappeared while on a mission to explore the Leviathan, an alien spacecraft buried at the bottom of the Pacific Ocean for 65 million years. But once they go down, the team discovers that the ship's alien crew is very much alive, and they have plans for Earth.
Faster than light? That's impossible.
For human science, maybe.
What are you saying, little green men?
I'm not ruling it out.
Then why is the signal coming from the ocean floor and not like the planet Vulcan?
Yeah, it was definitely quite a plot twist, definitely, from going in like thinking that just mutations were the only thing, and now all of a sudden we got
like aliens. And when you think about it, a lot of people could be like, aliens, this is getting kind of silly. First of all, it's a show about a giant lizard. But if you watch the original Godzillas, aliens were very much a prominent part all the time. Like in so many different movies, it was an alien monster, Ghidorah, alien, Gigan, alien, right? Like all these different monsters. So Godzilla's used to fighting aliens. and invasions.
That's why I really enjoyed this episode. It was basically them just kind of just having fun with the whole premise and everything. That, you know, all the aliens had some pretty cool designs, you know, and then like the plot twist at the end of the episode, basically, you know, they think they stopped everything and it turns out that they really didn't.
Yeah. And that's where we would like, so if you skip a few episodes and then we get to episode 12, 13, and 14, I think this is probably the peak of the entire show. Is we'll call it a 4-parter if you want to lump Leviathan in there, because technically this event takes place right after Leviathan, and they reference the events of Leviathan within it. So 12, 13, 14, Monster Wars, part 1, 2, and 3. And before we dive into each part, I just want to say that the creators have come out and stated that Monster Wars is supposed to be like their nod to the movie Godzilla Destroy All Monsters. And I love this movie because this movie back in the day it's a very similar concept. It was Godzilla and a bunch of the monsters that we have seen throughout a bunch of different movies all team up to fight King Ghidorah all at once. And Ghidorah shows up, he fights, it's Godzilla, Gorosaurus, which is from King Kong, like a King Kong movie, Anguirus, Manila, Mothra, Rodan, like all these guys teaming up to fight one bad. And then like you can kind of see it. You have all the different monsters that we had thought that Godzilla had killed up until this point all started reappearing now. And then there's like mind control elements going in. Eventually they break the mind control. And then there's a big bad monster that they kind of have to team up to fight, or like he's kind of like the monster that keeps the other monsters in check for the aliens. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Let's start off with Monster War Part 1, Episode 12. As tension threatens to break up the Heat team for good, major problems arise. A giant bat is terrorizing the countryside of Nigeria. The U.S. military has dredged the Leviathan ship from the bottom of the Pacific. And worst of all, the aliens are back with an army of mutations under their control and plans to conquer Earth. So yeah, the Heat team, things happen. Elsie ends up getting mind wiped and being controlled by the aliens. I forget if does Mendel get controlled? I don't think so. No. I remember Ellie was like the big one. It was like the one of the team members' turncoat. Yeah. But it wasn't her fault. She was being mind controlled.
But technically it was her fault if she just left it alone.
Yeah. That's so true. Yeah. That's so true.
But, you know, she did what she did, but...
For science.
Exactly.
It's all for science.
Did that alien mind probe extract all of your common sense? Our visitors were trying to take over the planet.
Yes, Nikki. And we destroyed them, remember? There's so much we can learn from this ship. I couldn't just ignore it.
But you could ignore the potential threat to humanity.
Didn't you once ask me to trust you regarding a certain oversized lizard?
I asked. You had no right going behind my back.
Listen, Nicky boy, I may work for you, but that does not mean you can tell me what to think or who to talk to.
Then maybe you shouldn't be working for me anymore.
Fine.
This is what I'm saying about like earlier, like before that, like they really did knock it out of the park with these like 3-parter episodes.
Yes.
And stuff. It's a slow burn in the first episode, and the next 2 episodes really pick up. But you know, between all the mind control stuff, it really had your seat just basically wondering what's going to happen next. But we find out that the Leviathan aliens are back.
Mm-hmm.
They take control. Basically, they basically make everyone angry. Basically, to the point where they want to quit the whole squad and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Can I see you for a second, please? Listen, I know you've been busy with Dr. Soppler, but you still have duties here at Heat.
We almost got whomped by Godzilla because of you.
Randy, I didn't ask for any help. And who's always tampering with Nigel anyway, huh?
Did something happen to Nigel?
Forget that Tinker toy. Something almost happened to us.
Arrête! The incident was not Craven's mistake. It was mine. I should have eliminated Godzilla long ago.
You arrogant.
Hey, leave the big guy out of this, okay?
Arrogant? Well, you are reckless.
Don't go blaming me
irresponsible.
for your screw-up.
You so much as look at Godzilla funny.
They're the ones that are kind of like tampering with their emotions. Like they're causing the team to like get upset easy and like bark at each other and like start throwing the finger at each other and being like, well, this is your fault. Well, like this is your fault. And like, this is your fault. And no one really knows why everyone's getting so upset.
Yep. And then when they finally all realize that they got to go to Nicaragua to deal with the giant bat, they work perfectly in tangent. Everyone's, not mad at each other or anything like that. And then they start to realize that,
Well, all the monsters are also being brainwashed over time at this point, too. We're in episode 2, so, like, the giant bat's being brainwashed. Even our boy Godzilla's being brainwashed.
yes.
So, like, several of the creatures from different episodes show back up. The Queen Bee shows up. She's being brainwashed. Lo and behold, at the end of the episode, so like all these monsters are now attacking different major cities, and they're prepping for a full-blown alien invasion of Earth coming from outer space. And at the end, you find out that what the aliens did, well, the aliens infiltrated the humans, like the army's base. And you find out what the humans had been doing without telling Nick or any of the members of the Heat is that they took the body of the Godzilla that died from the 1998 movie.
Godzilla. Yes, but not our Godzilla. This is the first one. You've turned him into a cyborg.
Nick, can we go home now?
And what the aliens did was like they made modifications and basically took the dead carcass of Godzilla and roboticized them.
Leave it to the U.S. government.
And basically creating, we'll call them this series, obviously nod to Mechagodzilla, but they call this version Cyber Godzilla. And Cyber Godzilla is our main character Godzilla's father.
Yes.
So when it came to when Cyber Godzilla first awakens and reappears, and Godzilla finally was trying to break off the mind control, it's really the original Godzilla is calling to the main character Junior. Junior stops listening to Nick Totopoulos and goes off with Cyber Godzilla. Because he's like, well, I'm confused. Do I listen to my mom? Do I listen to my dad? Mommy being Nick.
Yep.
Dad being Cyber Godzilla. And that's where the big struggle of Monster War Part 3 comes in. It's up to the humans to try and break the mind control that the aliens have over everybody, the humans and the monsters. And once they do, the monsters start attacking the aliens that are invading, because to the monsters, the Earth is their territory. And we all know how territorial animals can be.
The bat perceives the aliens as intruders upon its territory.
If the rest of the mutations feel the same way, Earth just may have a chance.
So for them, they don't even give a fuck about the humans. They don't care if the humans live or die. To them, it's all these things are now coming into their turf. So it's up to them to destroy them. I wouldn't even say they're even working in tangent and working together, but some of the monsters end up dying again, whether it's due to Cyber Godzilla, whether it's due to just alien spaceships coming in and shooting them all. And as we know, with it being a kid show, at the end of the day, the people are going to win.
Yo.
Nick ends up helping break through to the mind control, and they send something that kind of scrambles it all. I think it's Mendel who creates it, and like Randy helps him, and they have to bring it to basically a computer and give the aliens like a virus.
Yeah, he was quite proud of himself.
Yes. And I'll play little voice clips of those too. So at the end, boom, it comes back down to it. Does Godzilla join Cyber Godzilla? Because Cyber Godzilla is the only monster that is completely under the aliens' control. And they want Junior to get back on their side. Junior decides this time, no, I'm going back to Nick. And then it's a battle of Godzillas. It's Godzilla versus Cyber Godzilla, and it's a good fight. They have a good duke 'em out.
The cavalry is here!
Quiet! He's not on our team anymore. He knows that thing is his daddy.
Apparently, I've been readopted.
And it was just so much fun. It's so much fun that it's one of my favorite Godzilla movies that the whole thing's a nod to. I personally think that they should have probably left this as the season finale.
Yeah, this could have been the series finale.
It literally could have been the series finale, because if you really go after, and there's some good ones after this, but if you go like, I don't think they're topping that 3-part episode.
Absolutely not. That's what I mean. Like right after this, like it left me wanting more. Like basically, like they touch on a couple of different bad guys here and there and stuff like that, but like I really felt like they should have left this as the series finale.
Yes.
This doesn't get any better than that.
No. The fight was so good. All the just the scale of it all, how like it's an actual like Earth is in danger. It was like it's just everything. They definitely should have made this the finale. I will say there was an episode that was slightly right before this. It was actually the episode right before Monster Wars. It's episode 11. And episode 11 is called Deadlock. Heat heads to Scotland after Dr. Hugh Trevor, who's voiced by Roddy McDowall, which I had mentioned, in his final role before his death.
Fortunately, the attack was short in duration. Damage was minor.
What is in there?
Oh, nothing at the moment. But it's a clean room. We had it sealed to avoid contamination.
He is of the Pisces Marine Research Institute, and he claims his facility was attacked by the Loch Ness Monster. Once Nick is convinced of Nessie's existence, which is so funny because, like, and I'll play that too, they're very much like, oh no, it's a hoax, it's not real. And I'm like, bro, you literally have a giant lizard that lives in the ocean that follows you everywhere you go. You think that the realm of Nessie is not, it might not be a possibility that it's all staged and fake. There's got to be some kind of realness in there. So to me, it's just silly that he's like, nope.
Those be the same photos that experts identified as rock formations?
Those findings were never conclusive.
Ooh, lover spat?
I don't believe it.
Yeah,
No.
you really think that they would be like, okay, well, maybe there's some sort of chance, whatever, but they just like, nah, whatever.
Yeah.
Nothing,
But, you know, a couple of them like, no, let's go check it out, dude. Come on. You know, Randy's about that. So once Nick is convinced of Nessie's existence, he discovers that the facility is hiding a terrible secret. Trevor has captured Nessie's baby and plans to sell it on the black market. Now the team must convince Godzilla to work with Nessie to save her young and ensure her safety in Loch Ness. So it was cool because at first they were like, oh no, like this is definitely Nessie's, all right, it's attacking the facility. Maybe we should send Godzilla. And, you know, Godzilla and Nessie, they have a few different dust-ups while in the Loch Ness. But then when they find the baby Nessie, they're like, dude, what the fuck? And the doctor's like, dude, you shouldn't even be looking around. I'm telling you, like, he's attacking me, so go do what you do and stop a giant mutation from attacking me. And they were like, dude,
Stole its kid.
Yeah,
Like,
why would we do this? This is something that you brought on yourself, and honestly, you deserve it.
Listen, it's not clear yet if this Nessie is a new mutation or something that's been here for centuries.
I don't see what difference that makes.
If that creature is the actual Loch Ness monster, then it's been living here peacefully for thousands of years.
Meaning that something must have triggered it to attack your institute.
I don't care if that thing has been living here 15 centuries or 15 minutes. It is a menace, and I want it destroyed.
So, watching Godzilla actually team up with Nessie to take the whole facility down was cool. It was fun. It was awesome. At the end, Godzilla watches Nessie reunite with the baby, and then they both kind of like do that like little nod, like, all right, on you go kind of thing. But like, it was Nessie being like, thank you. And I can't remember if Nessie shows up in Monster Wars.
No,
I don't think so. Of all the monsters that returned, you would think so, because like this was the first time that like Godzilla actually had like a friendly relationship with another monster, opposed to like just showing up to stop that monster from attacking and destroying Nick and the Heat team. So I was like, oh, I really would like them to like bring Nessie back a few times, but I guess she's like one of those giant long dragon type things. It doesn't even look like the typical Nessie you see in our lore, where it's like the long neck dinosaur with the fins. I forget what the exact precise name of it is.
Yeah.
But this is more like a tiny, I wouldn't really call it a Chinese dragon, but think of the body of a Chinese dragon, more like an eel, like a giant eel. So I guess like she really can't leave the lock, because like where's she gonna go? How is she gonna get into the ocean?
Yo, true. But the subplot is what kind of kept me going with Dr. Mendel playing the bagpipes during that the whole time.
Yeah.
And Randy just fed up with the whole thing.
Oh, yeah, dude. So funny. And just every episode of these, Nigel dying in fun and unique ways. Yeah. So for me, B+ on this series. I almost give it an A-, but I feel like lately I've been too much I have the nostalgia glasses on too much.
True.
And it's hard for me to put the nostalgia glasses down and look at things and go like, all right, maybe it's not so good here. Maybe it's not so good there. But really with this, I didn't find, like, there weren't very many animation errors. There weren't very many voice errors. A lot of the old school cartoons, especially doing this show, you find like you'll be watching a cartoon and maybe the wrong person's voice will come out of the wrong character.
True.
And like, we don't have any of that animation flubs and stuff like that. It's just beautifully made. Look at me, I'm talking like Donald Trump.
Got the hands waving and everything.
Yeah, I'm
right
like,
now.
But yeah, so I only really made it a little bit into season 2. So you definitely made it further than I did, because the last episode I watched was Wedding Bells Blue.
So that episode actually wasn't a bad. Oh
no, I liked it. Yeah. I was watching it last night, and I was like, oh yeah, this is kind of cool. Essentially, when Elsie's estranged parents come to New York for her spoiled sister's wedding, she is forced to attend as maid of honor instead of helping Heat capture a mutant manta ray. When the military's battle with the creature ends up interrupting the wedding, Elsie is determined not only to catch the creature, but also prove to her parents that she is not the screw-up that they think she is. Mind you, and like, I will say, you mentioned Elsie's jealousy.
Yeah.
And that is a prominent thing in this episode, because, like, just be happy for your sister. Your sister's getting married, but Elsie's the one who's like, it's my sister's wedding, and my parents never gave me the biologist the love the credits that I deserve. It's always been my sister. And she goes, and the worst of all is the maid's dress, which is like this foofy pink horror looking thing.
Yeah, just be supportive.
It's like, yo, just be supportive of your sister.
That's all we're asking. Just trying to make it all.
It's not your day. And
Smart talk from the guy who lives in his mother's basement.
Come on. How bad could it possibly be?
How bad? Try 48 hours of, why can't you be more like your sister?
Do I detect a faint odor of jealousy?
No. It's just that I am an internationally respected paleobiologist, and it barely earns a blip on the parental radar.
And even later in the episode, she walks up to the sister and she's like, is there anything you can do? Pull some bride shit and just like, get me the fuck out of here. And this is like, of course, I'm the bride.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's a good sister, dude, right? She's on your side no matter what. Wear the dumb dress, shut up for an hour, watch them get married, and then go do your thing. But she's upset because the team has to go deal with this giant manta ray, which can fly in the sky. And it has ice breath. So it's causing a big ruckus. And, you know, the team's trying to corral it to a ice hockey rink where they plan to, like, capture it and everything. And, you know, they do, but then things go wrong. And then the military leads it toward the wedding. Godzilla shows up. The big fight happens. And it was a lot of fun. It was a good episode.
It's just crazy to me, like, just the amount of coincidences that it had to happen, like, right over the wedding.
Yeah. I was like, of course, of all the places for them to end up, and then Elsie's just standing there. And at this point, she's so used to giant monsters. But I feel like I would never get used to just watching these skyscraper type beings come barreling toward me at a rapid rate and just be like,
yep, here we go again.
Here we go. Yep. Here we go.
And then at the end, basically the parents accept it because she's the one badass that's on the boat.
We've loved you all along, and you're like, yeah, okay. It was funny. Sure. It was a good time. At this point, do you have any ones that are maybe a little bit further? Because you made it up to what, 30?
Yeah.
Oh, actually, that's only one episode.
Yeah, that's
more than me. I didn't realize it.
Yeah. So I would have liked to watch those last 2 episodes. It's just crazy to me that they just only released it out on DVD.
Yeah, and it got caught up in the whole Digi Poke War. So technically, the series ended on the Ring of Fire episode 17 of season 2. I think episode 38 overall, and that's the Firefly, a strange creature made of living flame, attacks an oil rig platform off the coast of Texas. When Heat and Godzilla arrive to stop it, Randy and Kraven sense a chance to make a lot of money if they can exploit the monster's ability to regenerate energy. Once Heat has taken the creature out and Randy and Mendel sneak it back to the headquarters for study, things go terribly wrong when the Firefly regains consciousness and starts burning down everything in its path. So Randy and Kraven teaming up for once, but being little shits about it. And honestly, at that point, any death that happens after that is on your hands.
Well, it was crazy because, like, you know, it was Mendel was the one that was like, well, you know what? We can use this for science. And he literally dragged it right out of the ocean.
Yeah.
Oh, Dr. Nick's not gonna like this.
Dr. Nick doesn't have to know, all right? This is independent research.
Yeah, independent research that could make you independently wealthy.
The existence of this mutant could revolutionize energy theory. And if we discover an alternative fuel source and get rich and famous along the way, so be it.
We?
Partners?
Fascinating. You know, we never did discuss the terms of this partnership.
Oh, 70-30.
Yeah.
What? I'm the one doing all the work here. I should get the larger share.
Yeah, and if I didn't play ball, you wouldn't have any work to do.
All right, 60-40.
Warning, gas leak detected.
They said the methane was basically filling up the lab and everything.
Yeah.
Basically, one little spark and blew up everything.
Boom. That's great.
So it was a pretty good episode. Yeah, I do remember one.
Yeah, I do remember watching that one too, because like I skipped to it because I was like, when I was reading about the final 2 that didn't get released, I was like, well, now I want to watch the final one just to see, like, do they get that feel that, like, maybe the show knew it was on its way out? Like, do they try and tie things together? No, they don't. It's just another Monster of the Week. And even with the other two that got released, episode 18's The Ballad of Gents du Morales and number 19's Tourist Trap, it's the same thing. It's not like they're tying everything together. There's an end to it all. It's just, yet again, another Monster of the Week. The team's got to do something to fight them. One is episode 18. It does take place in New Orleans during Mardi Gras. Hey now. But there's a swamp beast in that one. And then in the Tourist Trap, that one's a giant frogfish. So,
okay.
I mean, kind of the same thing.
See, again, we just go right back to that fact that those monster boys literally should have been the season finale.
It should have been the season finale. Yeah. To happen in the first season, and not even the end of the first season is wild.
I wonder if they thought if that was going to be like the end of the series itself, and like, but they got renewed for another season.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I could see that. Maybe they were like, we don't know how we're doing. And then but I think they would be able to get the viewerships and be like, wow, we're actually doing a lot better than we thought. And then season 2, they're like, yeah, we'll bring it back. Why don't you guys do a season 2? And they're like, damn, how do we?
And then Pokemon and Digimon.
Yeah. Then all of that outshined all of it, because they were going from every which way. Pokemon, Digimon, Metabots, Beyblade, Monster Rancher. It was just like your monster companion.
Yep.
Except these were like human-sized monsters opposed to the giant kaiju.
Yeah, there wasn't really too many of these shows going on at the time, so it was definitely kind of new and definitely worth a watch, though.
So, guys, that's Godzilla the series, the unsung hero. With the original movie, the 98 movie, they like to call that creature Zilla, right? Especially the Japanese, they make fun of it too. Their big thing is the fandom of Godzilla said it takes the god out of Godzilla. So that's why they nicknamed that monster Zilla. And we see Zilla come back and fight Japanese Godzilla in the movie Godzilla Final Wars. But the director purposely made it so that the Japanese Godzilla gives him a tail whip and then knocks him into the Sydney Opera House and then does a atomic breath, and the monster's done within seconds.
Oh, shit.
So, like, it was, like, so fast. And then the villain who was controlling Zilla was like, I knew you couldn't do it, you overgrown tuna fish. But so, this series did a good job, and I'll leave it at this, putting the god back in Godzilla. On that note, Sean, thanks for coming through, buddy. I hope you had a lot of fun. I have many plans to bring you back and do the other shows and some movies. We're gonna have a good time. Listeners, I have a lot of big things coming our way. A lot of big guest come-ins.
Get ready.
At that point, remember the 3 golden rules: fight pollution, save the planet, and motherfucking be good to yourselves.
Nigel online? Send a distress call. Quietly.
Yo, MC Nigel's in the house, yeah, calling for help.
Up on deck, go!
Now, there's lots of static in the party, really illin'. A bunch of homies that could use a little chillin'.